Okay, so earlier this morning about 1:10, there was a shooting at the Munchbar in Bellevue Square. That's 800 Bellevue Way. And obviously it's a very chaotic situation at that time. We did have Bellevue police officers that were in the area right at that moment. The shots were fired. So there's a criminal investigation that's going on right now. What I do know is that there's one dead and one injured. The deceased is a 30-year-old male from Seattle. That's all the information I have right now about that person. And the injured one is a young adult male. I don't know where he's from right at this moment. I'm working on that.
Do you know his condition?
I don't know his condition. Well, from what I understand, there was several incidents and altercations that were going on inside the Munchbar that possibly led up to the shooting. But we do consider it an isolated incident.
What do you know at this point about your shooter, and what's helping you to sort of get out on the street and find him?
Well, we're working on that. There was in the venue at the time was about 600 plus people. So as you know, it's a very complicated situation. We have to talk to quite a few witnesses. So we're working with some of the witnesses that were closest to the situation, trying to get a good description out, and probably get that out later on today.
Any leads on who this person could be?
We're working on that.
How cooperative were the people in the bar? It was really close to closing.
I would say there's a lot of confusion. I mean, there was, when you have a shooting, people are running, it's chaotic. So I think people were as cooperative as they could in regards to their public safety.
Is there any surveillance video or cameras inside?
We're working on all those investigative leads, sure.
There was one report that the victim was the bartender. Do you know?
I don't have any information about any employees being involved.
Now, we talked about this before, but there were these reports that some members of the Seattle Seahawks were in the bar, possibly celebrating after the game. And again, if you could go over what you were able to tell us about that.
Well, like I said, there are 600 plus witnesses in there. We don't identify witnesses, so I'm not really sure who was in there at the time, and so we're working on that.
What is the security situation like in there in terms of hired security?
I'm not sure about any security that was hired for that evening. I do know that on Sundays, which our officers will occasionally do what we call walkthroughs. I think that's probably why there was a couple of officers that were close by at the time.
Carla, this place gets pretty rowdy on the weekends, really packed.
It has been getting rowdy.
Do you guys have calls? How common is it for you to be called out here for fights and altercations?
Pretty much every weekend.
Have you ever had anything that
there's been physical altercations. I don't know about any other shootings or stabbings.
But at this point, you're looking into the possibility that there was an altercation in the bar just before this that may have led to this?
Yeah, I think there were several actually. And I don't know exactly what was involved with that, but it was pretty chaotic.
What's going on in there right now?
Well, it's a crime scene, so we have crime scene investigators that are there. There's collecting forensic evidence. As you know, there's all types of evidence that can be collected from a scene. And so several of our officers and detectives have been called out, and we're now working on that. We probably will be for several hours. We don't anticipate there being any type of huge impact on the mall. Just around the Munchbar is the only place that's really going to be taped off at this time.
So the mall will be open today as well?
There is access to the mall. Just you'll be able to tell where there's no access, but it will just be around the Munchbar area.
Is that the only access though through the mall? So I see it's on the second floor up there. I've never been in there before. Is the only way to get into the bar through the mall?
Is it? Just from the parking garage is what yes, through the parking garage.
Do you think you're just looking for one shooter?
I don't know.
Anything you can tell us about the type of gun that was used?
I don't know the type of gun. There's been a lot of different descriptions, and as you all know, witness testimony sometimes in a chaotic situation, so there's conflicting reports of what kind of gun. Most likely it was a handgun, but I don't know at this time.
Hey, Carla, did the victim die inside the bar, or were they taken to the hospital?
Deceased is Died inside the bar.
And has his body been removed?
Not yet.
And just to clarify, the mall is open as normal?
The mall
today,
is
with the
open.
exception of
Yep.
Munchbar.
The mall's open. Just around the Munchbar is the only crime scene.
And I'm sorry, you made a comment about you're here nearly every weekend. Is that at the Munchbar or just?
At the Munchbar and, at the mall.
And you were here. Officers were here not because of the Munchbar, but for other reasons.
There was a large crowd, so they happened to be driving by, thought they'd stop, check it out.
So were they actually?